Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Chris Gordon, who is here on behalf of RadNet, and she is the Senior Vice President of Operations for Northern California. But even though she's in Northern California, they still have a lot of work down here in Southern California. And you tell me you were born and raised down here.
That's correct. I was born and raised in Southern California, and my family remains down in Southern California. I moved up to Northern California in 1997 for work.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, so you've been up there a while, and it definitely is a different atmosphere up in Northern California, but nonetheless, RadNet is the same, whether it's in Northern California or Southern California. So welcome, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So it's been a real challenging year for so many people last year, and we've talked to a lot of RadNet doctors and executives. Give me your take on what are some of the challenges that you guys had to overcome last year.
You're right. It's been a very difficult year. The unknown is always a little bit scary, and trying to navigate something that just was an unknown was difficult for us. For RadNet, I think like many businesses and individuals, we obviously went through this thing and had to try to figure it out and navigate that. For our organization as a whole, it had severe financial implications. Obviously, we saw impacts to our business over the period of months. But really what we did was we did everything we could to learn as much as we possibly could about the virus, about the transmission of the virus, and took precautions and looked for the answers of how we could continue to navigate our business and keep our employees and our patients safe. I think the biggest thing to say for RadNet, and this goes across the board, is that we made a firm decision that we were going to keep our doors firmly open so we could continue to service the needs of the patients in all of our communities. And we're very proud to have done that. It wasn't always easy to do that, clearly. There were times when our business was impacted up to 70%, where we saw decreases as the population was also trying to figure things out and were fearful and didn't quite know what to do. But even through that, we kept our doors firmly open so we would be here to continue the medical services to those patients that needed them.
Absolutely, and very well said, because across the board, like I mentioned, we had spoken with many of the RadNet doctors, and the one thing that they really tried to stress for everyone is don't wait. Even though you might be afraid to go to your radiologist and have those x-rays or MRIs or whatever needs to be done, you should not wait. And your reiteration of all the things that you've had to do to stay safe should help ease their mind. But now we're running into something a little bit different. We've got surges of COVID-19 in the hospitals, which is actually impacting the hospital's capability of doing any types of radiology and some other services. So how has RadNet stepped in?
That's been a really tricky dynamic, I think, because that's true. The hospitals are clearly today under a tremendous amount of pressure. But still that other element does exist where there are those individuals that do need to go to the hospital, that do need that care, that are still concerned and fearful of doing that. What RadNet has done is understand that we're a healthcare provider and that, again, we need to continue to encourage people to create a safe environment for them to come to make certain that we're looking at our services and access to those services and being a part of that messaging that people do need to continue and take care of themselves. I think that one of the things that I've noticed most is how the messaging has changed over the last number of months. Originally, there was a lot of vagueness to, don't do anything that's not essential. And the population was left to try to interpret, what does that even mean? And unfortunately, a lot of folks interpreted essential to mean that unless I feel like I'm going out right now, I just need to stay put and stay home. And consequently, there was a lot of death and loss in addition to COVID, not related to COVID, because folks were concerned and afraid to go in and take care of themselves. I think the most important message that we can all share is that we need people to make certain that they continue to take care of their healthcare needs. There are all these other diseases and processes, and there's cancers and these things that exist, and to stop your care or to impede diagnosis care for those things is not what we want to be doing right now. For us, it's to know that we are a part of the architecture of the healthcare delivery system, and that we're here to support that and serve that and get your physicians what they need so they can continue your care. That's the mission of our company, right? It's to help people stay well, and that the hospital doesn't have to be the go-to for all those things, that there are other services like RadNet that are there to support many of the services that are needed for diagnosis and continued care.
So let's just say, for example, I need to have a mammogram, and I usually go to a local hospital to have my mammogram. So now it's very possible that I won't be able to go into the hospital to have the mammogram. So how does your facility kind of step in to help out in that situation?
Well, we also have partnerships with a lot of the hospital delivery care systems. And so the idea with us is that we have always been in practice to create a cost-effective, high-quality alternative. So we offer 2D, 3D mammography services. We offer breast surgical stereotactic breast biopsies, breast MRIs throughout our network of services as well. So a patient can come to us and continue that care that they need, continue to get their mammogram done. And again, during the most heated time of this pandemic, when there was some confusion about whether or not a patient should go and get that care, we were here to provide that service because we do believe that that's so important, so critical. That's what it's about, early detection and then getting the care that you need. So RadNet's here to service those needs today, before the pandemic, and we will be for many, many years to come.
Excellent. And then, looking forward, here we are in 2021 already, and we know that things are not, we haven't really gone over the hump quite yet. We're still waiting for that to happen, and now we have the vaccines. And do you think the perception of people and your patients will change going forward?
I think that it's going to still take some time. I think that the sensitivity is definitely community to community, and it depends on the positivity rate in an area, the news coverage in an area, demographics, the age of a population. And so I think we still have a ways to go to where we clear this, but I'm very optimistic that in 2021, with the distribution of the vaccines, as we see more and more of that happening, and the fact that we've been able to demonstrate that by following the common sense rules, that quite frankly have always sort of been the common sense rules, sanitization, wearing your mask, the things that we've been told, that we can do these things safely moving forward, and to hopefully impart that confidence in our patients and in our communities that we can do the right thing and we can still take care of ourselves. I'm very optimistic about 2021. I am grateful for it because while we're not completely out of this pandemic, I do think we're closer to it being a very distant and painful memory, but it's taught us a lot of things, right? And it's reminded us of things we already know. I think about, when I was a child growing up, the adults in my life telling me things, look both ways before you cross the street, oh, don't put that in your mouth. You don't know where that's been, those things. And today those things are wash your hands before you go somewhere. Wash them before you leave when you get home. Make certain that you wear your mask. Wipe things down. Do things like that. And if we do that, we can continue our lives. We can continue care of patients. And I certainly want to encourage those patients that have a need for health care to take care of themselves. RadNet, that's why we're here. We're here to continue taking care of folks regardless of what the circumstances are. And we've managed to do that and create safe environments, again, for our employees and our patients to continue to do that. Don't neglect your health. And I think 2021 will be a brighter and a much more gentler year. At least that is my hope.
That is our hope for sure. Thank you for that one. in talking about maybe expansion or some exciting things that will be happening with RadNet this year, can you share some of those with us?
We're constantly looking at the expansion of the scope of our services. But with that, we're a company that's also involved in research studies. We are involved in AI development, anything and everything that makes medical care more accessible, more readily accessible, more cost efficient for patients, and more inclusive so we can assure that we can service all communities. So we're constantly looking at and continuing. It's become a very routine thing for us to expand the scope of our services and the geography of our services recently into Arizona, but also throughout California, big expansions in Southern California. So it is something that RadNet is constantly has its hand on the pulse of that, and then listening very carefully to what does a community need? What do we need to be in that community, and looking for opportunities to do that. We have a lot of specialty applications we've gotten involved in. We do things like prostate MRI, of course, breast MRI, but RadNet is a company that is very progressive, and even when a circumstance stalls other organizations, it's when we look for opportunity to play a bigger, broader part. So I think you'll see a lot from RadNet in 2021.
Very exciting, and I look forward to learning more about all the things you just mentioned, especially the AI part, because that
Right.
is, I know we talked about it last year, but this actually the year before that, and so I'm hoping for some really good information. So perfect. Well, thank you so much, Chris. It was very nice to meet you.
It was nice to meet you as well. Thank you very much.
All right, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you as well.
Thank you. We'll be right back after this.